This is video file number 1 for property 77 Dorrins Strand in Strandhill, County Sligo for Elaine O'Halloran. Okay, so I'm just going to, I have a description here, a brief description. It is a timber frame house, finished in 2009. Now, I was just going to point out, because I spoke to the neighbours, I spoke to a couple of the neighbours, and one of the things that that they pointed out to me, and I said I would point it out in the report, just, you know, for comparison purposes. There's this, number 77 is house type G on the Sligo County Council planning file. I went in and had a look at the drawings. This is house type G, and there's only 4 of house type G. And just to note that this house type G is actually the smallest of the semi-detached dwellings. So I just want you to bear that in mind. Now, I haven't looked at the sale price of any of the rest of the semi-detached properties, but I suppose you'd want to bear that in mind when you're looking, if you were comparing the price of this property to, let's say, the price of another semi-detached property in the same estate. Just bear in mind that this one is a slightly smaller area. One of the bedrooms is slightly smaller. So of all of the 3-bedroom properties, I think this one is fairly is smaller. This is the ground floor plan. Those are the areas. This is the second floor plan, or the first floor plan. So the bedrooms are just a little bit, I suppose, smaller in this one. Now, that being said, on your actual site is slightly larger. Number 77 is slightly larger than your neighbour, because it's kind of like a corner plot. Your plot is, you're getting, you know, relatively speaking, quite a bit of land. Now, overall, I just briefly go through, you know, just the synopsis of the whole building. You know, I have given your property, I have called it as above average. So that's 2 steps above average. So the property is in good condition, and there were no major defects. I'm going to go through all of the defects here. So first of all, just the central heating system. I couldn't test the central heating system because there's no kerosene in the oil tank. Now, the kerosene tank it's here behind all of this vegetation here. That's the kerosene tank for the central heating system, and the boiler is here, shown by the red arrow. So if we go on to the next page, this is the kerosene tank here behind the screen. Now, just to point out that it's overgrown with vegetation. I would clear the vegetation from the top of the tank, because every time you open the lid, bits of dirt and detritus are going to fall in, and even when I took off the lid, a little bit of dirt and detritus fell in from what was kind of just a build-up from around, probably because of the vegetation. Now, the tank is empty, and it's empty because, as far as I can see, there's a leak. This is the outlet pipe. This is the kerosene flows from here through this pipe to the boiler, and there's a hole in it. So like at the minute, the tank is open. So if I move on to the next page, you can see here, that's the outlet pipe there, and there is actually a hole in that pipe there. So if you were to fill the tank at all, it would all leak out of this hole. It's a relatively large hole for the size of the pipe. So before you fill the tank, this will have to be repaired. And like I say, there was no kerosene there, so I couldn't test the heating system. So I have no way of knowing how well it's functioning. This is a photograph of inside the boiler. Now, just to notice that it's not brand new, so it's probably about 10 years old now at this stage, and it has 10 years of life. It's been used. It's been used well, so you're not getting a brand new boiler. Now, moving on to inside the house, this is a photograph of the living room, and there's a damp patch in the ceiling. You can see it there. So this damp patch is directly below the ensuite on the first floor. Now, that's a close-up of the damp patch there, and it's still damp, so that leak is still active. And normally, what causes those damp patches is when the shower is in use, that you get, let's say, water will be seeping around the edge of the shower tray and the tile around this area here. Normally that's what causes the damp patches, but in this particular instance that seal looks very good. Like, you can see there's no particular gaps there. The silicone seems to be holding up very well. So probably what's causing this damp stain is a leak in the drain pipe. There's a 50mm drain pipe from either the shower tray or from the sink. So one of those pipes is probably leaking, and you would need to get a plumber in to, basically what the plumber will do is, this is the ceiling here, he will cut out a hole in the ceiling there, and he'll be able to see what exactly is leaking, where's the water coming from, and he'll fix it, and then he'll do a patch repair. So it's a relatively small job. Now, the other things, smaller things that I've noticed, so these are only kind of smaller items, that this is the shower tray. The actual the drain cover for the shower tray is missing, and the U-bend may become blocked with hairs and detritus fairly quickly. So the plumber could be able to get you a cover for that. I'm not sure why it's missing. Now, this is again in the ensuite. There is no, over the sink in the ensuite, there is no mirror or light. There's no light fitting. Now, I'm not sure why they're not there, because the house has been lived in, but it's the same situation in the main bathroom. There's no mirror or light fitting over the sink, so that would have to be installed. This is the sink in the ensuite. I could not remove the stopper. Now, it's I'm sure I could get it out if I tried hard enough, but it was very difficult to get it out. And this is up here, the red arrow shows, that's the lever there which operates the stopper. So push it up and down and it moves the stopper up and down. That lever is broken, it's rusted and damaged and won't operate. So it needs to either be repaired or replaced. Probably replaced. I'm not sure whether you can replace that individually, or you'd have to replace the whole the whole tap and plug, but a plumber should be able to repair that for you. Now, moving on to, this is a photograph of the sink in the bathroom, the main bathroom on the first floor. The light fitting, there's no light fitting, there's no mirror over the sink. So I'm not sure whether that was ever put in or was removed, but it's not there at the minute. Now, again, there's problems with the sink in the main bathroom. The stopper here is missing. It's the same situation with this red arrow shows the lever that is used to operate the stopper, and that is rusted and stiff and it's broken. Actually, when you look underneath the sink, you can see that there's a plastic piece connecting the two lever arms, and it's broken, so it needs to be replaced. This cold tap here, it's also, when I tighten the handle or when I turn the water off, the water does turn off, but this tap is ringing. It won't tighten properly, it just keeps ringing, so that needs to be either repaired or replaced. So a plumber, you need to get a plumber in to have a look at that as well, and he may decide to replace the washer, or you may have to again replace the whole sink, the whole tap, 2 taps, and in order to get the stopper lever working again. So this is just a view from underside here. this lever here and this lever here, those are what's used to operate the sink plug. So this metal rod is supposed to be in here, but it's broken out. You see the broken bit of plastic, so that would all really have to be replaced. It's heavily rusted anyway. In the bathroom, the main bathroom, the hot tap is quite stiff, so that needs maintenance. And then you've also got, let's say, a leak from the hose. So either a plumber could come in, he might be able to repair it, or he might just want to replace the whole thing. It might be easiest to replace the whole thing. I did notice there was a heavy scum build-up on pretty much all of the toilets. So I don't know whether they haven't been cleaned or whether it's not possible to clean that off, but it made difficult. Flushing solids is difficult with this build-up here, because it doesn't have a smooth flow, so it's difficult to flush. Now I'm going to stop this video here, and I'll continue on the next video 2.